Hey, good morning, everyone.
Morning, folks.
Good morning.
Oh,
I see Mike Bogey outside. That's nice. I definitely have to go spend some time outdoors today.
Yeah, I'll be on the golf course later today, and I'm very, very happy about that.
Ramsey Stewart coming in from Missouri. Did I get that right?
You did. Lake of the Ozarks.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
I've never been to Lake of the Ozarks. That's a place I've always wanted to visit. I mean, I've heard it's a real party during the summer anyway, though.
It is. You know, the cool thing about the lake is as it's growing and COVID sure helped because COVID didn't exist at Lake of the Ozarks. There was a barrier around it, and like you couldn't get it if you came, and you could also, if you had it, you couldn't spread it. So yeah, it's actually been a really cool experiment in social norms, because they tried for like a week, maybe 10 days. They tried crazy stuff like docks couldn't have X amount of boats on it. And dock slips had to have spaces between boats. And then all the business owners were like, basically, here's the middle finger, we're open.
Right.
The county was like, okay, cool, because we don't want to fight it.
Yep.
It's been open ever since, and it's a pretty cool thing. But there's something for everybody. There's demographics from young to old to retired to millennials to everything. It's a pretty cool spot.
I'm gonna have to make a trip down there. I'll definitely be letting you know so you can find us a good Airbnb or give us some good tips or something along those lines.
Sounds good, man. Always happy to help and promote the area.
Awesome. Well, yeah, if anyone needs a Lake of the Ozarks realtor, we got Ramsey Stewart.
Yeah. Hey, Ramsey, are you seeing multiple offers down there as well?
Actually, it's kind of funny that you guys are talking about this, because I just had a listing and we're going through 5 offers on it this morning and getting buttoned up. And so, yeah, we're seeing it. We have little to no inventory. I think there were like 10 lakefront homes earlier this week that could be that were on the market. And that's pretty nuts, considering there's usually about 30 to 50 is kind of the norm, month and a half ish absorption rate. So yeah.
Nice. Well, welcome everybody. One North Collaborative. Today, this week, we are kind of diving into multiple offers, some things that myself, that Austin are doing, but we really want this to be an open discussion with all of you. We're sharing everything that we're doing. We want you guys to share anything that is working with you guys as well, but just really looking for all of us to be able to do better in this market, win more offers. There's more than enough out there for all of us, and we don't really need to be in competition. So Austin, I know you've got some real good stuff you want to chat about today, so I'm gonna let you kick it off.
Cool. Well, I think if you're in the business at all here in Minnesota, and it sounds like elsewhere, if you are writing offers, you're in competitive situations. So you got to make your offer stand out. And I've got a couple of ways that we're looking to stand out and that we're looking to implement. One of them was shared with us from a group in Philadelphia. And before we do that, though, I just want to talk a little bit about how when we see offers as a listing agent, we can talk about what stands out. And for me, when an agent is communicative and professional, it at least sets the tone to start things out right. If somebody just lobs an offer in and doesn't follow up and just gives a link to the Authentisign, it seems like they're just mailing it in and don't really care whether their client gets it or not. And even if their client does have the best offer, they may not end up being somebody we want to work with.
Yeah, I mean, communication is key. It is such an important piece of it that you should be starting. If you feel your buyers are possibly going to write an offer, it should start with you reaching out to that agent prior to even going to tour the home. It's, hey, I'm going to show my clients this one. I really feel like they're going to like it. Is there anything that you want to make sure that I point out to them to make sure that they see everything that is great about your listing? And then give them an opportunity to speak. And that is going to 100% set you apart.
And without kissing their ass too much, make sure that you say, hey, that's a fantastic listing. You may even want to ask how they got it, whether they do a lot of business in that area, whatever it is, to compliment them on the listing and build some rapport with that agent. So be professional, and it will definitely help your client. And then along those professional lines is presenting an offer that is well put together. And it doesn't even have to be a good offer, but present it well. So give them a summary in your email as to what it is. I really don't like having to weed through an offer and try to figure out all the details when I've got 8-10 offers. I love having an email that says, okay, here's the price, here's the earnest money, here's the close date, here's the financing, here are any contingencies down the line, boom, boom, boom. And it makes it so much easier to understand, A, that the agent has their act together, and B, that they've thought of all of the potential issues and potential hot buttons for the sellers.
If anybody wants a generic offer presentation summary sheet, I've got one that's really great. It's a fillable PDF. So I'll share that somewhere. We'll get it out to you guys after.
We can just pop it in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Is there anybody here doing something creative from an offer presentation standpoint that they're either proud of or would like to try to improve?
Chris, I know you've gotten pretty creative with some of your stuff.
Yeah, no, I think that I do, like, for me, so I know that Joe is really into calling the agent, texting them. I've actually had it where I feel like I've called the agent a couple too many times. So for me, my rule of thumb is a call, a text, and an email. And I think that if you hit them on all those communication points, I think you're going to be able to give your client the best shot getting to get their offer accepted and not talking to the agent too much too.
I agree. There's a limit to it all. You can get annoying, you can be too aggressive, so that can happen as well.
Well, it depends on the agent, you know, like if you have an agent who's super talkative and wants to talk with you, go for it. But if it's an agent who's more professional and doesn't want to get a million calls, or it has 12 offers on their place, you know, they're getting a bunch of calls already. So it's just something to keep in mind.
100%. Kelly, you got your hand up?
I do. I just thought of this. When I'm a listing agent and have multiple offers, I typically have like an Excel spreadsheet that I put together so I can kind of categorize everything. I just thought of it. What if you include that with your offers so that if they have multiple offers, they could actually plug that information in and kind of assess what they've got going on. Either your offer is a winner or it's not in a lot of ways. And if you're looking to impress or at least get your name out there as well, that might not be the worst thing in the world. If you already have a template, what difference does it make if you share it?
I think that's great.
What a great idea.
There is a system, it's called Offer Ease. A friend of mine, I don't know if you guys know him, Henry Edelstein. He's a pretty popular realtor here in the Twin Cities real estate market. He created this system called Offer Ease, and can be used anywhere. Ramsey, you may even be able to use it. I believe it's $200 a year, and it essentially gives you access. It is a portal for people to submit their offers to and fill out a summary of their offer. It will then email you that an offer has been presented. You can set it up where it's going to email your clients, your sellers as well, and present it right to them. Or you cannot have it do that, but it also is going to do essentially what Kelly's talking about, like an Excel spreadsheet, and show you the net offer price of each of those offers and kind of highlight the terms and make it very easy to understand those offers and the pluses and the minuses to them.
I'm gonna post the link for that in our chat. It is a cool system, and what's nice is that it's You already beat me to it, dude.
Are you using it?
I'm not, but I think it could really work well.
Yeah.
There's on their website, there's a video that describes its pluses and minuses, not even minuses, but its features and benefits. And I think it'll become more widely used and recognized as a great way to communicate with your clients on multiple offers. Is there anybody here using it?
I know Travis, our broker's using it, and he's had amazing success with it. He feels it's just a really, really great piece.
Cool. Good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Casey, in the chat, I see you say that you have your lender reach out as well. We hosted a mastermind probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago now at this point, where we had some very heavy listing agents there and really wanted to pick their brain about what they wanted to see with our offers. And one of the things that they actually told us was they don't want to hear from the lender through phone, because their thought was, all right, put yourself in that listing agent's position. They're working or they're out shopping at Target, doing their grocery shopping. They get a call from a random lender that is for one of the offers on their property. The chances of them being able to connect that lender to that buyer's offer through a phone call when they're not in front of their computer, not looking at the offer right in front of them, is very, very low. So I'm never going to say don't have them call, but a lot of them did say that an email and an email with a video is the ultimate way to go.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. Especially if you've got more than 2 or 3 offers. If you've got 15, 20 offers, it's hard to connect the dots.
I think the other challenging thing as a listing agent is if a lender is calling you, they're not going to say, this is a tricky file, or here's the red or pink flags. I think it's great that they reach out and let them know how cooperative they are and that they're willing, that they're excited to work with them. But outside of that, I agree with those listing agents and what Joe just said. It's a random call from someone that they may or may not work. You know what I mean? Like, it can be a challenge.
Yeah, it's, and that's where the communication between you and the agent comes into play. If you know there is only 2 or 3 offers, because you can ask how many offers, they can possibly disclose it to you. But if you know there's only 2 or 3 offers, then 100% your lender should be reaching out with a phone call. Scott, I see that you said that ShowingTime has a service that allows submitting offers. I don't think that's something that we have here in the Twin Cities. I have heard that was a beta that is starting to be released with ShowingTime Plus, I believe is what it is. And I'm pretty sure if you're still on here and want to speak up, I think that's what that's with. But yeah, I imagine we'll all have that soon.
I've had a lender shoot me a video text, a short personal text about their buyer. That always helps. And I try to send a video text about my offer in a multiple offer situation. I don't know that it's helped, but it sure hasn't hurt.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of you know I'm a huge proponent of video and reaching out through video text, especially. I love it.
Yeah, agreed. I think that runs hand in hand with what I've got for us here. And then once we come out of this short presentation, we can talk best practices further. So this is a program called HighNote. I'm going to share my screen and let me just find it here. It was shared with me by an agent and a team in Philadelphia, and they use HighNote to present all of their offers. So let me just see if I can get this going here.
So HighNote is a wildly valuable tool that can be used for a lot more than just presenting offers. It's something that I use for a lot of my first-time buyers. We use it as part of a listing presentation, like a pre-list presentation. There's tons and tons of uses for it. I'll drop a link to it in the chat. It's like $10 a month, and it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, you can use it for listing presentations. You can use it for recruiting. You can use it for presenting offers, and a whole bunch of other applications. So it is one of the great things about HighNote also is that you can tell when your recipients are opening it, how often they've played certain videos and opened certain assets in it, and you're actually notified when those events happen. So this is an example of an offer that was written on a property here. The agent is writing can everybody see my screen here?
We got you.
Okay, so it is written to the sellers. And one thing that this agent and his team do is they reach out to the listing agent and say, I have a presentation for your sellers. And you address it, they address it to the sellers. Sometimes it'll get sent to the sellers. Most of the time it may not. But what it does is it personalizes things. Dear Brian and Catherine, thank you for taking the time to consider my client Kristen's offer. So it goes through the touchy-feely bit, also presents you as a professional and as somebody who does things a little bit differently. It also puts a little personality in here. And then I'm going to play the vid. So you go down here so you've got your letter. Right below it is a video. Hopefully the sound will come through here.
Hi, Brian and Catherine. I just wanted to send over a quick video to
Can you hear?
myself.
Turn up a little.
Team leads at JK Living Team. I just wanted to say thank you very much for letting us through on Sunday. It did allow a good opportunity for my client Kristen and her parents to come take a look at it, and they really did fall in love with it. It's kind of perfect for them. I've been working with Kristen now for 2 years in an attempt to get into a home in the area, and I'm hoping we keep our fingers crossed. This is a great offer for you. I helped her brother Grace move to the area a couple of years ago, and they're just a really nice family. So really keeping my fingers crossed here. So the offer we are presenting will be $390,000. They're going to put an earnest money deposit down of $10,000. She is going to be getting a conventional mortgage, putting 20% down, and
So you can see how this adds personality to it. It adds professionalism to it, goes through the details of the offer, and sets you apart. If it's sent to the seller, it could be an absolute home run. We're not violating any fair housing issues here. It is presenting the offer with a face. The face of the agent being a professional certainly helps, and then doing it in a way that if it doesn't wow the agent or impress the agent, it certainly will impress the seller. So we move back into the offer. Now we have the offer itself. You notice in the box next to it, it had a summary. So the offer obviously looks different than ours, but it's just a one-page proposal. But we can put our whole offer in there.
You know, I love that video piece. It humanizes the transaction. So often the sellers are making a decision on the buyers as well as the other agent that's on the other side, because the agent that's on the other side is wildly important for that transaction and how it is going to play out. So if you can humanize it a little bit, I love that.
Totally. So now you got the details. You've got all of this, and you can see that it's summarized at the top. And it's summarized in the asset box right here. So if you need to include more, you can tell when they open this. You can tell how often they open this. And then here is the pre-approval from the lender. And if you wanted to, you could also include a video from the lender. And that speaks to what Ramsey was talking about, and Joe was earlier, having the lender just do a brief video. Hey, the Smiths are terrific buyers. I've worked with them on 2 purchases previously. They have been stable in their employment for more than 2 years and have solid credit scores, whatever they're going to say. I work with the agent a lot, and we're going to have a smooth transaction. Thanks so much for considering the offer. And away you go. If you can have your lender And some lenders are going to be comfortable doing that, some are not. But it would be really the cherry on top for this package. So HighNote has so many good applications, but this may be the best one. I'm going to stop sharing unless somebody wants me to poke into other parts of this or revisit some of it. Anybody?
That's good stuff. I really like that.
I have a question quick. How does that come through as an email to that agent? I see
Okay.
when you're clicking on it. I just want to know, yeah, or do they know what to do if they've never seen HighNote before?
It'll come through as an email, and then there'll be a link in the email. So the email will come through from Carla Doth. Is it Doth or Doth?
Doth, you had it right.
Doth.
Yep.
Okay. It'll come through from Carla Doth, and then you can say what you want in your email,
Okay.
and then click the link for my offer or my offer presentation. And then it opens, then it goes directly to this hosted piece, which you're seeing now.
Okay.
And I think that's really cool too, in the fact that, typically, I want to see offers presented to me in one PDF. This is just one link now. And it's happened to me before where an offer gets lengthy with additional pages, additional contingencies, CIC docs, all of that type of thing. And it's too large to attach, and it has to be a Google Drive link. So this is a great workaround for that as well.
Yeah. We may actually, though, at times have an 80-year-old agent on the other end. That could be an issue.
Know your audience. That is 100% true.
Would you also suggest including the email or sorry, the offer PDF in the email, or just leaving it in the HighNote presentation?
I would probably include both.
I think I would too.
Yeah. Mike, in the old days, we presented offers in person to the listing agent and sellers at the house. Yeah, that's it's been a while since that's taken place, but it is something that, peak of the market 2021 type of thing. I considered doing that. I actually contacted a few agents when it was in multiple offers and asked if I could come to their office and present in person. Both times I tried to do that, they shot me down. They said they were just far too busy. But, I think that made me stand out a little bit anyway. Christy, you said best practices for Android users wanting to video text. There's a really good website for this. It's apple.com, and then you buy an iPhone.
There's also BombBomb. So BombBomb is a great way for Apple or Android users to record a video and have it texted. The nice thing is that you don't have to worry about file size. Yesterday, I did one to a client who's an out-of-town buyer, and I recorded a 5-minute video walking around a house. That you can't send in a text, but if you send the BombBomb link in a text, it's an active link, and they can go watch it, and you again can track how many times they've seen it, how much of it they saw.
Yeah,
Scott?
I was
Yeah.
trying to send it in a text, not as a link, because I found a couple ways to do it as a link, but I don't want them to think it's spam. It was
Right.
kind of a,
BombBomb will do the little GIF, and Loom will as well. And Loom has an app that can be read on your phone and could work really well for that. Loom is free, or you can pay $10 a month for it to get high definition video.
that's right. I'll look into Loom. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's a good.
The thing I like about BombBomb is that it integrates with most CRMs and with Gmail. So if you want to do it mobile, you can do it mobile and record a video for somebody. If you want to do it from your desktop, you just click as part of your email, recording a video, and it embeds right in the video in the email.
Love it. You touched early on with just communication to the listing agent and asking those questions. Asking, hey, Mr. Mrs. listing agent, are your sellers looking purely for highest price? Is that their number one objective? Or are there other things that are really important to them? Because those other things that are important to them can hold a lot of weight, and they can be very willing to accept an offer that's lower than maybe that highest offer that doesn't have the closing date that they need. or isn't allowing for additional possession time for them. Getting to know the listing agent and the sellers as much as you can is so wildly important. Maybe they're contingent on that sale for buying their new home. Well, that day of sale, we all know, is a wildly stressful day. You know, they've got to have everything packed up and moved out and go to their new closing, get the keys and all of that. Just giving them an additional 24 hours of possession can go a really, really long ways.
So we've talked about tools. Let's talk about tactics.
Yeah.
What are people doing on inspections right now? Anybody have something that's working other than giving away the store and waiving everything?
Inspection guarantees are what is really working for myself and my team.
And can you elaborate on that?
We have several different ways of doing it. One can simply be inspection is for informational purposes only. And it still offers your buyers a opportunity to walk away from the property if there is issues there. But it does allow them to inspect it, and the sellers know that they're not going to nickel and dime them. Some buyers are more comfortable with stating that we are going to have an inspection, but we will not negotiate on any single item with an estimated repair cost of $2,500 or less, or $3,000 or less, or $5,000 or less, whatever that buyer is comfortable with. Those are kind of the two main ways that we're doing inspection guarantees. And then on top of that, if they are putting a number of, say, $2,500 towards their inspection guarantee, I am pushing my buyers to also put their money where their mouth is and say that $2,500 of the earnest money is completely non-refundable upfront. That's really showing the sellers that we will not negotiate on anything $2,500 or less. Now, the buyer has to be comfortable with it. They have to have some funds and understand that they need to be willing to lose that and walk away from the property if issues come up, essentially.
Yeah, that certainly sweetens it. I see Catherine's got her hand up.
Is that me?
That's you.
Yes.
I go by Casey, so I want to make sure it just shows a giant C in my corner.
Okay, yes, it just says Catherine Zebrev there, so.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So Joe, that's super awesome. I have not actually done a earnest money guarantee. I work with a lot of first-time home buyers and relocation buyers. So I always tell them between inspection and appraisal gap, never to compromise on their principles. So only do what they're comfortable with. We have been doing the inspection non-contingent, and we call it the getting your homeowner's manual, basically like a how-to for your house. So that the buyers can walk through, they can still get their inspection. And the only thing we say is we want to make sure it passes for appraisal, obviously. So, you know, I think a CO detector is about the only thing we've ever had to ask for. And the last one we just did was a VA buyer. They moved over a bookshelf for us, so the stairs were covered when the appraiser went through, because the buyer didn't care. He didn't want to add anything to the stairs. So, you know, just working with the other agent and finding out what crafty things you can do to make sure the home passes the way the buyers and sellers want it to, without having to put all those things in place and spending a ton of money. But making the inspection non-contingent, and then especially if it's like a townhouse or CIC docs or something, and then letting the buyers have their how-to manual so they don't feel like they're being gypped out of finding out if anything's wrong with the home, and you know, basically compromising on their principles and not feeling comfortable moving from another state when they don't know anything about Minnesota and the extreme temperatures and clay and flooding and all that stuff. So
I love that.
One thing that we do. So the inspectors I use have it's like an 80-page manual of what needs to be fixed, by when, who you can call if you don't want to do it, where to go to get the materials if you do want to do it yourself, and when to fix it by.
Who do you use for inspections?
I use Marigold, and they're new and they've been incredible. And then I use RC Fields.
I can second Marigold. They're phenomenal.
Yeah, they've been perfect.
One big thing with Marigold, they're not sponsoring this video or anything like that, but they will guarantee an inspection within 48 hours. And that can be huge as well with getting an offer accepted. Getting that inspection period to be as short as possible is a very, very good move.
I saw that Christy Biken had her hand up and then it's down, but I'm gonna put you on the spot, Christy. What's up?
Oh, I was just trying to figure out where, if the hand was up or not, because it was on my screen anyway, but I thought of
was up.
something. Are any of you guys doing the walkthrough inspection, mini inspections? I have not tried that, and I'm wondering if that's back.
I was gonna bring that up. It was prevalent last year and I did it a few times last year. Haven't done it this year.
I have done it quite a few times and it does set your client apart because you walk through during your showing with the inspector, and it's called a peekaboo inspection for most inspectors. And it works really well because your clients are happy they did it. It's a heck of a lot cheaper. And then with the low inventory, there's usually other people there and they look at you like, how the heck are you walking through with your inspector? And it really throws them for a loop.
Do
I think-
you guys, can I
Okay.
ask a follow-up question? Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you let the agent, the listing agent, know that I've seen that come up where they're like, you need to tell us. Is anyone telling them that that's part of your showing?
That's exactly what I was going to say, actually. And
I
think
do
it's very-
always.
Yeah, I
You-
think it's
you don't
very
hide that.
important to let them know.
I book an inspection actually instead of a
You
showing.
do. That's how you do it. Okay. I was very curious what the, technical side of that looked like. Okay.
I book a showing and then put in the notes that we'll have an inspector along for the showing.
And I think that's just as good.
What
It
is
does
the
vary.
typical length for that? Like, how long is that taking you guys? With an inspector coming through with you?
You know, the inspector's gonna want more time. And it really depends on the max showing length. It's driving me nuts that people are still doing 30-minute max showing lengths right now.
I just book one after another.
Yeah, but I think 45 minutes to an hour, you can do enough to understand the major issues in the house.
I agree. Casey brought up another good point when she was just talking about condos, townhomes. I want to make sure everybody knows that there is a form in our files to not remove, but reduce the 10-day right of rescission down to 3 days. That's something 100%. I think that if you are in multiple offers on a condo or townhome, that should guaranteed be being used.
Yeah,
You
I've
got-
seen it a couple times this year and it's great.
Now, you got to let your buyers know that, they are only going to have 3 days to get questions answered. And there can be some issues with different associations not getting back to you quickly and not answering questions quickly. So, you don't have to go down to 3 days. You can move it down to 5 days, but doing some type of reduction on there, I think, is a good move.
Any
What's the
other
name of the
inspection
form?
questions or ideas?
What's the name of the form, Joe? Is it the?
It's a waiver of CIC doc, I believe is what it is.
Okay, thank you.
If you go into forms and type in waiver, it will pop up.
Are you guys seeing a lot of inspections being waived, like not doing them at all? What's the trend out? I know that there's a TC that sends us stuff, but I think we're seeing them in majority of the time, but
Yeah, I see the updates from Home Free TC and Contract to Close, and I think both of them currently are about 30%.
That's my recollection as well.
Which peak of the market previously, when we were in the absolute frenzy, I know it was well over 50%. I want to say it was like 58% is kind of like the peak that we ever saw it get to. So it's well below where it is, or where it was, I should say.
okay.
But I think in order to stand out, it makes sense to do some sort of alteration of a full inspection on the home, whether it's a walkthrough or whether it's putting a floor on what the buyer's going to ask for, or making it pass fail. I think it makes sense to do something like that to make your offer a little bit better. Is anybody doing anything on appraisal gaps?
As much as the buyer can comfortably do.
I don't think appraisal is going to be nearly the issue this year that it was last year. And so I would look at comps and let the buyer know that this might be a tool that we can put in the offer and won't be used.
And here's a great strategy on the list side. Over the past couple of years, we've sat down with 2 different appraisers, had them in rooms full of agents, and asked them outright, as the listing agent, after we accept an offer, if we increase the list price to the accepted offer price, are we more likely to get a full price appraisal? Both of them in a room full of agents said 100% yes.
Really?
Yep.
I always thought it was just kind of a stupid trick.
No, it's basically what it is appraisers also have, essentially like underwriting. They need to justify a offer price that is being accepted so far above what the list price is. And if they don't have to justify that, the chances are of you getting an appraisal at the full amount is much higher. And this is a good thing for your sellers, and it's a good thing for the buyers as well. It doesn't hurt anybody. Now, if you are an agent that is really big on wanting to show your stats and showing how much over the list price you get and be able to keep that, that's going to screw that type of stuff up. But ultimately, we represent our buyers and our sellers, and that's where our interest should lie, in my opinion.
Yeah, and those, you can use those stats as original list price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, I had no idea that had any impact. I thought it was just kind of silly. So,
Chris, yeah, you talked about offering to pitch in on appraisal gap. I haven't done it just recently, but it is something that I have definitely pitched in. We have some language that we use for it that basically says that the buyer is willing to contribute up to $5,000 to cover the difference in appraisal guarantee. And the agent will also guarantee up to, and it's been a lot of times in the past where I've put in a couple $1,000s. It's never gotten to the point where I've actually had to contribute. But for me, it was one of these things that, hey, the market was so difficult. It was so difficult to get an offer accepted. If I can contribute a little bit and reduce my commission a little bit to ultimately not have to go back out with those buyers and start the process all over again, I was willing to give up a little bit of my commission. It was more of a what's good with my time, essentially.
I have, and I asked because I learned it essentially from receiving one of your offers and started to use it with my buyers. And most of the time it was not required, but there was definitely one where I ended up pitching in, and but it was still like the conditions you explained. Like I'm out with them virtually, and the picky mom is with, and we've done this now 2 months in a row every weekend. And I was like, it has to be done. So anyway, I just wanted to give you some feedback on that, not in a judgy way, but I picked that up from you. So
yeah, I'll drop that clause actually that we use in the chat for everybody so they can use that one if they would like to. It'll take me a minute to find here. But yeah, it's been a good strategy. I mean, it's about leveraging your time and what makes the most sense for you. I mean, hey, we're real estate agents. We get paid a pretty fair amount of money when we close a property, and I'm willing to give up just a little bit to make things go through.
and it might be that you've had 6 offers that haven't gone through for that buyer. I'm not a big fan of handing my money over. But if you've got to get it done for your client, it's the best thing for them. I like the idea, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not big on giving up my money either. We work hard for it. But to get a deal done, I'll negotiate.
I'll take some of your money, Joe. So another tactic that I've seen a few times, and I think it makes a lot of sense, and it qualifies a buyer even better, is to have the lender go through underwriting before offers are written. So you can say that this buyer is pre-approved and underwritten, which is just one better step. Anybody else doing that?
Not enough.
I do that, and they guarantee a closing. Or the listing agent gets paid.
I've seen that. Who's doing that?
Cross Country Mortgage. I work with Jamie Wambach at Cross Country Mortgage, so I don't know if it's Cross Country Mortgage as a whole, but they do offer that program. So they're fully underwritten and they do a guaranteed closing. So if you can't close for some reason, I forget it's 5,000, but I forget what the cap is. Like at 9,000, but it's 5,000 for sure, if not 9,000.
I remember seeing that, and it was Cross Country. I think it was Lisa Wells at Cross Country who did that on an offer on one of my listings. So yeah, that's a cool program. Ramsey, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we touched base on it. Back to the inspections and things like that. We've had some success, and on the listing side, seen it and it's been nice, but tiered earnest money deposits. Like if you don't do, let's say you're willing to buy the house as is, but you want an exploratory inspection. You put X earnest money up front. Then once you have your inspection and you're moving forward, additional earnest money. And it's been great. I actually learned it from a referral I got. They sold in Florida, and the agent there, the listing agent that sent me the buyer, they had their buyer's agent on their listing did it. So we started reviewing the contract and looked at it, and then we've used it 3 times now, and it's been a benefit for sellers and for the buyer.
Love that.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it was pretty simple. It was just like, additional earnest money to be deposited at lifting of inspection contingency or whatever, because you put the contingency, but you're also saying, it's a pass fail or exploratory purposes, however you word what you do with the inspection, but it's helped us.
Cool.
Yeah, I love the tier idea. So essentially are you saying right away, some of it is non-refundable, then after this, more is non-refundable, and then after that step?
No, we've actually not even used the non-refundable term. Like, so our example was a $700,000 house. We put 10,000 up front as earnest money, and then after lifting of inspection contingency, we put an additional 5,000. But you could play with those numbers however you feel comfortable playing with those numbers, but we never actually relinquished any kind of non-refundable or anything like that. We just said, okay, now we mean business. This is the next step.
I love that. That brings up something that some buyers of mine last year won an offer because they had about $50,000 for a down payment. They put $50,000 down as their earnest money. So putting the full amount of your down payment up as earnest money is also a very good show of faith to those sellers that your buyers are going to move forward. And here is the upfront strength of those buyers.
Joe, do you have a script that you talk to your buyers about on that? Because a lot of people, when they put that kind of money up, or really any money up, are worried about, if things get weird, do I get my money back?
I mean, it really is. It's only for the buyers that are in a good financial position and understand fully. Yes. I mean, I explain exactly to them, there are things that can go wrong that you could not get your earnest money back. If you choose to not close on this property, your earnest money is essentially in jeopardy at this point. But do you feel confident in moving forward on this? Yes. They've got great credit. They've got additional savings. There's not going to be any finance issues. If everybody is safe with it and everything is explained to them, I'm comfortable doing it as well. But it's not for every buyer at all. Something that I think is really important to speak to the listing agent about. Now, I put this in our offer presentation, but it's also words that come out of my mouth. That is, if at any time we are no longer in the running for this property, can you let me know so we can adjust our offer? That's basically saying, hey, prior to if you're putting that offer in prior to the deadline, come back to me and let me know. Just let us know that we're no longer in the running so I can go back to my buyers and see if we can increase.
Yeah, and that's helpful for your buyer as well, because if that's their ceiling, you could start looking at other properties.
100%. Yeah. I mean, because sometimes these offer deadlines are now on Saturday. So there's time for us to get out and keep looking, and Sunday possibly. And yeah. Ramsey, you got your hand up? Oh, okay.
I had a listing that I thought it was a really great comment an agent made was in the bottom of her summary, she said, if there's anything at all that we can do to make the seller work with this offer, please let me know. And it was a little bit more like of a positive rather than saying, you know, if we're not in the running anymore, let me know, you know, so it's like a different spin, you know, on it. I really like the way that that was worded. So I've used it a few times in multiple offers, but
Yeah. Anytime you can get a positive spin on it, I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, one thing to be cautious about if you're on the buyer's end of that, it's not the listing agent's obligation to reach back out to you.
Correct.
If they've got a really good offer in hand, they may not worry about you. So figure out a way to check in, figure out a way to say, hey, how we doing here, or something to that effect. And they may say you're not in the running anymore, but it is not on the listing agent to let you know, because they may have had 3, 4, 5 people ask them to do it, or they may just be somebody who's trying to take the easy way out, and they're not worried about your offer. They're worried about what they've got in hand.
Yeah. I always find too, if you can say offer deadline is 7 p.m. on Sunday. Yeah, it might be 7 p.m. on Sunday, but if you can talk to your buyers and say, hey, I want you guys to be prepared at 6 p.m. because I want to have one additional phone call with that agent and try and pick their brain, try and get a little bit more information out of them about the number of offers, what they're really looking at for offers. Being that last offer in can go a long ways, and you can get some additional information. Now, on the flip side of that, for a property that is not vacant and sellers are living in that property, if you can get in the door Thursday and write an offer very, very quickly and give an offer bonus. Say the property is listed at 300,000. You say, hey, we're willing to offer you 315,000, and the rest of the terms. But if you accept our offer by 8 p.m. tonight, we'll give you an additional $5,000 or an additional $10,000. Put it on the sellers that, hey, if you want to go back home and enjoy your home for the rest of the weekend, here's a phenomenal offer up front. We'd like to wrap this up really quickly. It can work. It's kind of the opposite of a sunset clause. It's the positive side of it, of doing an offer bonus, essentially.
Yeah, and some agents are going to call BS on you and counter you at that number, regardless of when it happens.
Buyers are willing to go anyway. You know, it's kind of like, sweet, if we can get our offer accepted, let's go.
Yeah, it's worth a swing, no doubt.
Yeah. This isn't so much for this market, but in previous markets when things weren't so great, I used to play around with, as the listing agent, writing reverse offers to buyers, where essentially my sellers would fill out an offer that was acceptable to them, and any buyer that had maybe seen the property twice or we had positive feedback from them, here's an offer that's completely filled out. All you have to do is put in buyers' names, maybe a closing date, maybe some other terms that you're just a little bit unaware of, type of thing. But oftentimes when a offer is in front of somebody and an opportunity to move forward, it can help move that needle.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, if something's been sitting for a little while, maybe you missed the market, maybe they were underprepared, whatever it was. Yeah, I like that. I hadn't heard about that in a long time.
It's been a while. I did use one actually this winter for a listing of mine that, you know, it was just sitting. It was a little bit of a tough time there for a minute in the market. So yeah, we used it. It didn't end up going through. We ended up selling for more than that post that, but yeah.
Does anybody else have anything they want to add, things that have really worked for them in writing offers, or things that they'd like to learn more about?
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
When you're calling the listing agent to get information from them before submitting an offer, is asking them why are the sellers moving a fair question?
I firmly believe that any question you are asking is a fair question. It's up to them if they want to answer or not.
Okay, that works kind of my feelings too, but I've gotten a couple or a little bit of feedback from agents like you shouldn't ask that question. So I was just curious what the rules are around that.
I mean, you don't want to push somebody too hard and piss off an agent or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's fair game. You can ask any question you want. It's up to them what they are willing to disclose to you. And
Cool.
I often find, like, you know, legally, they're not supposed to disclose to us what that highest offer is. But if you ask them a few different times in a row, or maybe, hey, if we went in at 310, oh no, I can't tell you. Well, how about 315? Oh, well, how about 325? Oh, well, you're in the ballpark now. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
I know lenders do it, that on-time closing guarantee. That's something that I have offered as well out of my commission. Now I'm only doing that with buyers that I know are very well qualified when they're working with my trusted lender, but it's another piece to add in there. I mean, there's so many small pieces to an offer that can add up to something really, really amazing. And as the agent, putting myself and my commission on the line is something that for the right buyer, I'm willing to do. And it shows a lot to that listing agent and to the sellers that the agent on the other side is also very committed to getting this transaction done.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think it's the micro steps that we take throughout the entire process of offer writing, through the communication, the way the offer is presented, the small little pieces, the details that we can find out about the sellers to craft an offer that is going to fit their needs the best that it possibly can, makes it so you don't always have to be the highest offer.
So Joe, we've got a few more minutes here. Do you want to do a little preview for our May 22nd event?
Yeah, May 22nd. I would love to have all of you guys show up. It's going to be at Day Block Brewing in Minneapolis. We're having some really amazing speakers fly in. We've got from North Dakota, we've got Eric Hatch and Robbie Trefethrin, if you guys know them. Jesse Peters from Winnipeg is going to be coming into town. He is really amazing what he's doing with video, creating legacy through video. We have Joe Herrera coming in from Las Vegas. He is certified from what's the author?
Phil Jones.
Phil Jones, with exactly what to say. So he is going to be giving a presentation on that. It's a phenomenal book. If you guys haven't read it, 100% check it out. It's great on Audible, and it's one that you should read multiple times because I listen to it fairly frequently, and I always, not that I pick up new things, but it just kind of, you know, reticular activation type of deal. And then we've got the one and the only Sharon Srivatsa coming. He is always a showstopper. He is going to bring an immense amount of value. But May 22nd, we are going to start posting about it here probably today a little bit more, and would love to have all of you guys show up there. It's going to be a really phenomenal event.
So a little background on Sharon Srivatsa. He is the president of Real Broker, but presented at a conference last year that I was at. And this was before he had joined Real Broker. And he got about 3 minutes into the presentation, and I went, who the hell is this guy? This is amazing. His energy is fantastic. His tactics are fantastic. Great insight. He has built multiple businesses and sold them. You will find that just listening to Sharon for half an hour will be worth your entire day. So I really think that we're going to have a fun event. There's going to be a happy hour afterwards, and we're going to learn, network, and I would love to see you all there. Yeah. Even you, Ramsey.
We're really trying to bring some real tactical type stuff that you can literally walk away from and be better the day of. Awesome. Thank you, guys. We'll get this one posted. If you guys think of any other things that you can do, you know, strategies that you're using, anything like that, share them with us, share them in the One North group. We're happy to help out. We're not about competition. This is all about collaboration, and we can do much better together. So we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys, for joining us. That was fun.